Hello and welcome to the Punished for Protecting live broadcast with your host, Francesca Amato, national expert in the Americans with Disabilities Act, domestic violence and child abuse advocate, best-selling author, and founder of Punished for Protecting Incorporated. Hello and welcome to the Punished for Protecting live broadcast with your host, Francesca Amato, national expert in the Americans with Disabilities. Hello and welcome to the Punished for Protecting live broadcast with your host, Francesca Amato, national expert in the Americans with Disabilities Act, domestic violence and child abuse advocate, best-selling author, and founder of Punished for Protecting Incorporated. We welcome all of our viewers listening on Facebook via Punished for Protecting News and the CPS News Network. If you're watching on YouTube at Punish No More and Free to Protect, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. Now, without further ado, here is your host, Francesca Amato.
Francesca Amato, founder of the National Advocate, Punished for Protecting Incorporated.
Well, first, I want to thank both of you, Assemblywomen Walker and Jaffe, for having this and for being so patient all these hours, listening to all of these experts and professionals and families. My name is Francesca Amato. I am here on behalf of countless New York families that I personally advocate for, who requested I speak on their behalf. Is that a little too loud?
It's perfect.
Okay. My son and I have also been victimized by the family court. As a national advocate, we realize now that this is the actual gateway door to the epidemic of human trafficking in which we are finally seeing exposed.
Francesca Amato, founder of the National Advocate, Punished for Protecting Incorporated.
Well, first, I want to thank both of you, Assemblywomen Walker and Jaffe, for having this and for being so patient all these hours, listening to all of these experts and professionals and families. My name is Francesca Amato. I am here on behalf of countless New York families that I personally advocate for, who requested I speak on their behalf. Is that a little too loud?
It's perfect.
Okay. My son and I have also been victimized by the family court. As a national advocate, we realize now that this is the actual gateway door to the epidemic of human trafficking in which we are finally seeing exposed. If I get under your skin today, I am not sorry, as we all must have a moral compass and obligation to end this nightmare. I vehemently oppose this merger. I would be thrilled to see the courts be completely abolished. I will tell you with firsthand knowledge that the statistics through Health and Human Services' own admittance why. Punished for Protecting Incorporated is a New York State registered nonprofit 501c4. We are helping families nationwide through raising awareness on our TV and news programs and helping families injured by family court and CPS abuses. Our national advocates are trained in ACE, Adverse Childhood Experiences, Saunders, Myers, social science research that shows the long-term effects to children and families from being separated. The truth about PASS, parental alienation syndrome, false allegations, Stockholm syndrome, wrongful separation of biological family, families who are re-victimized due to abuse. This affects all races, all social and economic backgrounds, all, not poor only. I love all people, but this affects every color and every social economic background. We have families devastated by court orders after they become traumatized and bankrupt. We educate Congress, legislators, and public servants through college lectures and raising awareness through social media and my own TV and news programs. This includes teaching our real rights versus what has been told to the people in violation of civil liberties and parental rights. Punish for Protecting Incorporated spearheads many events for social reform, education, and overall change. I am a national advocate with specialty in ADA, American Disability Act, accommodations and violations, as well as a two-time best-selling author of the book Punish for Protecting the Injustice System of Family Court. My true story of the abuse my son and I endured at the hands of Judge Anthony McGinty of Ulster County Family Court. Deception. Those who are deceived are the last to know it. There is a huge disconnect from the judges to the families, and advocates bridge the gap of communication. Through this lack of communication, families too many to number have suffered lifelong trauma. This affects our communities, our state, and our nation. The head director of the Children's Home in Poughkeepsie, New York, did a slideshow presentation on November 13th at an event sponsored by Senator Serino that I attended and spoke at. She spoke and showed the statistics from the Polaris report, showing that 86% of sex-trafficked children are through foster care and social services. That's almost 90%. In the slideshow, it also showed that these children run from group homes due to abuse. A recent report by LOHUD notes that New York ranks 5th in the nation for human trafficking, with sex trafficking making up the majority of those crimes. The same story quotes the director of this Hudson Valley Human Trafficking Program, who states clearly that human trafficking is occurring in every corner of every neighborhood in the Hudson Valley. Who is making these orders? Family court judges make these orders. We strongly feel that not only should the courts be abolished, but the family court judges should be arrested for treason under Title 18, Sections 241 and 242. It's all over the media, case after case of child murdered by foster parents, CPS workers falsifying records and even falsifying drug tests, and contracts with hospitals to medically kidnap children for requesting a second opinion. Why, you ask? Well, in 2009, according to a survey by the Leadership Council for Interpersonal Violence, over 58,000 children were given to abusers. If you wonder why there's such an opioid crisis, how would you feel if your child, young adult, or elder ripped from your safe and loving biological families was placed in danger and then placed on psychotropic drugs to silence their emotions? We must wake up. We have a fatherless nation of good fathers who love and support their children because the family court keeps them away, and all the while giving unfettered access to abusive fathers and restraining good mothers, supervising good mothers for telling the truth about abuse. Some fathers have never met their own children but pay child support and live under false allegations while true abuse goes unchecked and victims are re-victimized. We now have where courts and CPS work together to separate loving families, mothers and fathers, with false allegations, which is a crime in every state, but goes ignored because it helps the narrative of stealing children and selling them into trafficking. A great fallacy is that an abductor comes into a Walmart and abducts a child. This is not true. They come from a court order rendered by a family court judge. This is why the child trafficking is being exposed at these unprecedented numbers, ripping families apart, placing children in danger, taking away a protective, loving parent, and keeping that parent from protecting their child causes all members of the family extreme trauma and PTSD. ADA violations are off the charts, and the courts are clueless about the accommodations for emotional disabilities that they caused by harming families at this level. As a national advocate, I court watch these judges all over our state and, yes, our nation. There is an appearance of a court with their evaluations, their bar members, their professionals. I have personally witnessed judges giving unfettered and full custody to abusers, never proceeding to the side of caution. Over and over, I have watched them harass and abuse protective parents when they report abuse. Many times, unlicensed medical bar members have stated that mother or father is coaching, and they remove that parent from the life of the child and place the child or children directly into the hands of the abuser. I have a full database of over 12 years of cases compiled with police reports, forensic medical reports that go ignored. 58,000 is not a clerical error. It's a direct, strategic, and sophisticated decision and the gateway door to child and family trafficking. The Hudson Valley, according to the human trafficking bill that Senator Serino is endorsing, is the highest concentration of trafficking in our state. I ask you again, who is making these orders? Only a family court judge can make these orders. CPS does not have this authority. But what makes these matters so much worse is this. Are you aware, and please look this up yourself, that according to Schwar versus Board of Examiners, there is no such thing as a licensed attorney in any state as per our Supreme Court. Assigned counsel and paid counsel is an interpreter of their law. The practice of law is a common right. If that is not bad enough, you will never find one place on the congressional record anywhere, state or federal, where the people voted in the family court or CPS. This is high treason. These errors of harming and endangering families to these outrageous amounts of missing children, exploited children, and trafficked children through this sophisticated multi-trillion-dollar industry must be abolished and the actors arrested at once. We can't fix this. We have to hold it accountable. A judicial system must be accountable to render orders and or make just decisions, and it can't when it's clearly not just itself. Why do these judges purposely place children with abusers? The reason is clear. Then CPS can step in and eventually filter them through services that we pay for, foster care that we pay for, and forced adoption, the black market of the adoption industry. Federal funding at its finest. Please look this up for yourself and get informed. We, the people, want this system abolished and held accountable for the years of abuses and irreparable and ignored damages to countless New York families and children. And in closing, let me say that the unified court system is already merged. This is why families have no way out. There is no accountability. The system polices itself. When you report to the Committee on Judicial Conduct, it never holds anyone accountable. Everyone claims to have no jurisdiction, and the reason is the family court is a private for-profit business with a Dun & Bradstreet business number. They claim to be public, but everything is done privately. You can't be both. There is no accountability because there are no evidence-based practices. No evidence is taken onto a real record. Hearsay is taken as fact. There is no due process and no trial by jury of one's peers as our rights demand. These crimes against humanity must be held accountable. There is no place for any family to get help, as the appellate courts hardly overturn anything unless it has huge public attention. Judicial immunity is a get-out-of-jail-free card and the highest danger to public integrity and safety. These judges do anything they want, no matter how imprudent these decisions are and how dangerous to these families and children their decisions are. The harm they have caused our families, there is no amount of money that can ever pay them back. There is no way possible that these judges have gotten all these harmed families cases right, that less than 2% get overturned. As far as I'm concerned, the courts have already merged by the unified court system and must be held accountable through abolishment and arrest. Thank you.
It does sound like you have had some very negative experiences and understanding of what has been going on in the courts. The trauma that the children face, have you noted that? Is there any response to that and under these circumstances that you have noted?
So the difference between me and then the people that you have seen up here, especially the ones that work for CPS, or Sheila Poole, who the late Assemblyman Frank Scartatos actually wrote her several letters with me, working with him before he passed away for years, that went unanswered, just to let you know. I work with countless families all over the state and the country, so I get to personally experience what they're living, and I get to personally get to know them. And I don't do it in a haphazard way. I really get to know the family and the dynamic and the suffering that they go through and the trauma and the ripping apart. When they talk about due process, having an attorney next to you, that people don't want that. They don't care that an attorney just walked in the door with them 5 seconds before, whether they paid for them or not. They care that the attorney doesn't care about them and works for the system, no matter what. And the cost is their children, their lives, their livelihood, their jobs, their houses, everything they worked for, their entire bank account. Whether they're rich or poor, they lose everything because they want to save their families and their children, all because of a false allegation. And I get to see that every day. So that's why I speak for the families who didn't speak today. We heard what CPS wants to believe. We heard what CPS wants to tell people, the lies that they tell people. The judges, they're just in a box somewhere. They're not even in the reality of the real world, making and ordering and rendering decisions that families have to live by, ordered to live by, like some kind of slave in bondage. And it's not a way for any of us to live, especially in the 21st century. We should have got this right a long time ago. I've been speaking for a long time, and for me to have to be here today, I'm thankful and grateful for how far we've come, but this is disgusting that this goes on every day in our nation. I see mothers and fathers put in jail for doing nothing wrong, while real criminals are freed. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
In terms of, just last question, the potential solution to the obstacles that you have discussed.
Well, how can a broken system help broken families? The only solution that I see is abolishment and arrest according to our laws. So Title 18, Section 241 and 242 would hold them accountable for these treasonous actions. When the bar membership is not a licensed membership, like they've been telling the people, when they tell the people they're too dumb to interpret English, when you're standing before a judge, it's common sense and common law for everyone. So we're told that we have to have someone represent us, and they don't represent us because we're too foolish to know better. If I don't know the law, then how can I be held accountable for it? Everything is backwards, it's twisted, and it's wrong, and it's destroying the health and welfare of all of our nation inside our borders. There's no other answer than to abolish this system and arrest the judges. That's what the people want. We never voted it in, so it has no legal standing to touch any of us. It has no legal right to tell us what to do, how to live, what hoop to jump through, and then maybe you'll get your kids back. Or to dangle your children over you and tell you, you had Cheerios on the floor, we're going to take them, they're in danger, and we'll talk to you about it in a week from now. That's not due process. Having an attorney is not due process either. Having a system that's legitimate, having a real justice system, that would be the only way that it would be due process, and it hasn't been that for decades. There is no other answer. We need to take the axe to the root.
We'll be right back after a message from Punished for Protecting Incorporated. Each new generation of protective mothers is shocked when they first go to family court and find it doesn't favor single mothers and is willing to jeopardize children. Francesca's harrowing experience with the broken family court system, from which she finally received justice after 8 months of struggle, is proof that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Francesca has one We'll be right back after a message from Punished for Protecting Incorporated. Each new generation of protective mothers is shocked when they first go to family court and find it doesn't favor single mothers and is willing to jeopardize children. Francesca's harrowing experience with the broken family court system, from which she finally received justice after 8 months of struggle, is proof that there is light at the end of the tunnel. We'll be right back after a message from Punished for Protecting Incorporated. Each new generation of protective mothers is shocked when they first go to family court and find it doesn't favor single mothers and is willing to jeopardize children. Francesca's harrowing experience with the broken family court system, from which she finally received justice after 8 months of struggle, is proof that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Francesca has one of these unspeakably cruel cases and has responded by shining a large spotlight on widespread failures so other mothers won't be shocked. Punished for Protecting the Injustice System of Family Court by Francesca Amato Banfield, advocate, mother, whistleblower, founder, and TV talk show host of Punished for Protecting. If you are struggling with injustices wrought by our courts, this book will help guide you through the process. Available on Amazon.com. Search Punished for Protecting and get your copy today. Help abolish family court by purchasing Punished for Protecting merchandise. Here are our top sellers. See the link in the YouTube video description to find out how to get your Punished for Protecting t-shirt. Get your high-quality Punished for Protecting t-shirt while supplies last, and let everyone know that you stand for justice. Are you being re-victimized by the family court system? Do you need help with your case? Go online and book a talk with Francesca. Go to punished4beingAparent.com/book-a-talk. Fill in your name, email address, and message to Francesca. Someone will get back to you within 24 hours. Francesca and her staff of volunteers continue to work tirelessly every single day for parents and children who are in need of their help. There have been multiple success stories, including Francesca's, which gives hope to others in similar situations. Punished for Protecting Incorporated has incurred out-of-pocket expenses with zero funding to help families get their children back or to save their children from being taken. We also have provided funds to help with retainers, food, lodging, and travel. We really need your help so we can continue to provide our many services. Any amount is greatly appreciated. If you'd like to donate or sponsor a family in need of help, go to Cash App, Free the Children. And now back to our broadcast.
That's what we do. We take 5-year-old little boys away from their mommy and
Even very brief separations are stressful to infants and young children.
And pulled it so much that he has a huge bald spot.
Our sympathetic nervous system kicks in and impels us to try to cope with this separation by calling for the parent, crying, getting upset, signaling that we need the parent back to be our source of security and safety and regulation.
So other people grab their hand and take them to the car and bring them there. And it scares me.
It begins to damage brain cells. Hippocampal cells will die. That's our memory center. The electrical activity in the brain is being reduced by these more prolonged separations.
The other thing that's affected in the brain is the amygdala. It's the fight or flight center. So when you've got this really overactive amygdala, the ability to be able to evaluate risk, make good decisions is compromised. Not only does it affect the architecture of the brain, but long term, it affects health and early death.
Is the foundation on which we build our exploration and our autonomy and our curiosity and the cognitive skills with which we're going to negotiate the world. It's a very fundamental system to protect, and it's foundational to many of the child's developmental achievements. Time is very important when you're dealing with very young children because you begin to see this deterioration fairly quickly. The idea that you're going to hold a young child away from the parent for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks is an enormity of time for a young child. They just know that the parent is absent, and that can be equivalent to the parent basically being dead or having abandoned them.
You are hurting me!
I don't see any good left in Child Protective Services.
These people are stealing children.
One of the things we see in children reared in institutions in the first 2 years of life is that the attachment system goes badly awry.
Ultimately, that relationship with the caregiver predicts the kind of interpersonal relationships that the child will have as they get older.
It's very important if we want to prevent later very problematic outcomes for these kids. The younger the child, the more urgent it is.
Recovery is certainly possible, but I think the prognosis for most of these children is they're not going to be okay.
The only thing that can stop this corrupt machine is you.
I'm going to answer a question.
and then we're going to end this broadcast. Kennedy, Eski Mama. Yeah, there's an update. There's many updates. I'm in the middle of working on this. We're working on it very much, and we've got some big people involved at this point in time. So this is going to be overturned, and it may take a little bit of time. There's a lot of good things going on. I'm sorry that I'm not saying too much on here. There's reasons for that. We're doing this actually all over the entire country, but change is coming. Change is coming. So lots of good things are on the horizon, and that's about all I can say. But yes, I stay in close contact with her. Thank you for watching today.